Hey, welcome again. I'm Steven, data scientist and research. Dialogue is Experience Lab on Genius TV. Now, whoa. Now, we require to change Genius TV mind education because now we are focusing about self-development. Last episodes we finish where the parent talk, we think we know ourselves, but actually we don't. There are all sorts of undiscovered area of our thoughts and action. What we find in ourselves may be quite astonishing. This, we continue our point, the phenomenon of knowing ourselves. Self-knowledge requires a new perspective of seeing yourself with eyes other than your own, and understanding how your body, mind reacts to experience of life. Remember, the dialogue is Experience Lab. Observe without analysis the way in which you react physical, emotions, and mental in the different circumstances of every day. Our reaction to situations of everyday living provide constant opportunities for self-knowledge and insight. Be interested in how you function in a day life, explore without any criticism or justifications. Simply take note that is enough. In day-to-day activity and moment-to-moment living can the spirit of question and no judgmental attending continue to live here and to clarify the ways of self. It is urged us to look at ourselves in a fearless honest, influenced by ideas and image of what we are or should be. It is easy to cling to the apparent security of our automatic patterns of thinking and reacting, but these inevitably bring conflict and sorrow. Only with immediate and clear insight can the mind begins to free itself from its conditioning, open up to the depth of understanding that is compassion. One of the purposes of self-knowledge is to remove barrier to understanding, to polish the surface personality and release human potential, allowing the essential self to emerge and shine. Man has to come to understand how to see himself as he really is, so that he can achieve something in the area which he calls what may be. As the same to the woman. Self-knowledge grow as we objectively explore the nature of the body, mind, and feelings in a detached, not judgmental manners. Self-knowledge is a name, but it is also means. Self-knowledge is a means of deeper understanding and ultimate of self-realization. To face ourselves scientifically, we must accept the fact as they are without agreement, disagreement, or conclusion. It is not mental acceptance and acceptance of idea, but is completely practical, functional. It requires only alertness. Attention must be bipolar. We see the situation and at the same time see how it occurs in us as feelings and thought. In other words, the fact of a situation must include our own reaction. We remain in the scientific process free from judgment, interpretations, and evaluations, only looking in a different moment in the day at our psychological, intellectual, and physical ground uh, and our own level of vitality. There is no motive, there is no interference from me, no desire to change, grow, or become. In this way, we became more intimate with ourselves, more aware of how we function from moment to moment in our everyday life. When we are exposed, real reasoning appears automatically, and in reasoning there is openness, receptivity. Exploration never became fixation with the goal to be achieved. It remains as welcoming that brings originality and life to every moment. Before there can be intelligence, action, there must be self-knowledge. There is no understanding without self-knowing. Learning about the self is not accumulating knowledge about it. Gathering of knowledge prevents learning. Learning is not an additive process. Learning is from moment to moment, is as is understanding. Ignorance is not the lack of knowledge but of self-knowing. Without self-knowing, there is no intelligence. Self-knowing is not accumulative as knowledge. Learning from moment to moment, it is not additive process. In the process of learning, adding, and center informed, a center of knowledge, of experience. In this process, positive or negative, there is no understanding, for as long as there is an intention of gathering or resisting. The movement of thought and feeling are not understanding. There is no self without self-knowing. There is no intelligence. Self-knowing is active present, not a judgment. All self-judgment implies on accumulating evaluations from center of experience. No, it is pursuit of self-knowing that is intelligence. In order to understand who we really are, we first need to understand what we are not through a process of self-inquiry and detached self-examination. Discover all that you are not: body, feelings, thoughts, idea, time, space, being and not being, this or that. Nothing concrete or abstract you can point to is you. A mere verbal statement will not do. Will not do. You may repeat a formula endless without any result whatsoever. You must watch yourself continuously, particularly your mind moment by moment, missing nothing. This witnessing is essential for separations of self from not a self. So we move the great part in this phenomena called approach to self-study. As we said above, the path of self-knowledge begins with study of oneself. In honesty, not a critical assessment of one's actual state is crucial in the process of spiritual self-development. The beginning for the travel on the path. Sorry. The beginning for the traveler on the path is to start to look for the faults in oneself for which one previously thought sought in others. and to begin to perceive in other the merits which one form reimagined to be one's own. In Atonke, spiritual teaching emphasizes a pressed on monitoring one's self-behavior and running about oneself in honest, no judgmental way. Self-observation yourself about what you really are. Because the curiosity opens you up to the undivided state. From the undivided state, one of the first things realize is that you don't really know who you are. When you are examining yourself, you are examining your action or reaction to situations in a constructive, not a hostile way. You are examining yourself with the patience in a harmonious way, as a good friend of yourself, and as such, you do not attack and aggress against yourself. Constructive criticism may be required, and it can even be harsh criticism if necessary. But use the same approach in measuring or criticizing yourself as you would in the case of every dear cherished friend. Self-study is a conscious effort which begins with the development and the control of attention. Simultaneously and progressively, we will find that the first phase of study puts us in touch with the work on our attention, which will become the central axis of new inner experience. Remember this, our dialogue called Experience Lab. With the self-study, it is important to be impartial and not to expect any quick result. What is crucial is to see oneself, to observe oneself mechanically, automatically, and reactionary behavior without a comment and without making any attempt initially to change the behavior. Self-examinations should be an objective, not a judgmental activity conducted as impartially as possible. What is essential is to become more acquainted with your intimate nature, your sensation, body tensions, feelings and desire without making any judgment. The observer has no emotions. It's like a mirror. Yeah, it is like a mirror. Everything just passes in front of it, but the mirror makes no judgment. Whenever we judge, we have added another thought. They need to be labeled. It means that if you are observing yourself, you don't need any judgment. You did this not good, and no. Because if you say you did it not good, and how good you want to do it is to add the thought on your result, but this thought needed to be labeled. I think it's understandable. So, the observer is not critical. Judging is not something the observer does. The observer simply watch and all reflect like a mirror. If garbage passes in front of it, it reflects garbage. If loss passes in front of it, it reflects losses. The mirror remains as a mirror. An empty mirror, mirror. Sorry. The observer doesn't even accept it, just observe. Self-knowledge is a lifetime commitment of study and work. in which one gradually builds up a picture of oneself. Increase of self-knowledge and the change of the level of being happens of itself simply by again and again bringing the right of our attention and intelligence to what we have been blind to. The significance of persistence in this effort of self-knowing is encapsulated in a saying of Sadi: not every oyster holds a pear, not every time does the archer hits his target. With the continued practical, the very act of studying and observing ourselves honestly and without judgment dissolve the personality and ego structure with block higher development and being. The pure act of seeing as a factor, whether the fact may be, bring its own understanding, and from this mutation take place. We are slaves to work, to what we do not know, whether we are master of what we do know. Whatever vice or weakness we uncover in ourselves, and whose cause and working we come to understand, we overcome by the very knowing the adversities dissolve whether when blood into the right of awareness, just by opening ourselves, by allowing whatever just to remain in this light of awareness. We lob it of its power to harm. We lob it just by opening ourselves, by allowing whatever is to remain in the light of awareness. We lob it of its power to harm. We must open ourselves in this way without any judgment, without any need of integrate, change or do something about what even appears. Self-knowledge is an inner experience, understanding of ourselves as a human being rather than an analytical or intellectual understanding. Remember, they are called experience lab. Self-knowledge has from the beginning of time being fundamental in many doctrines and many schools, not an exterior analytical knowledge such as modern Western science have been pursuing for so long, avoiding all inner questions or trying to reduce them to purely materialistic explanation, but rather all inner self-knowledge wherein to avoid distortion or root element. Each structure and each knowledge wherein to avoid distortion, each element, each structure, each function, as well as the relationship and the laws which govern them are not looked at only from outside, but must be experienced in the whole context which they belong and can only truly know at work in their totality. This is a completely different attitude from that which modern science has accustomed us, and the one does exclude the other. So let us stop part 2 here. We'll continue by our possibility of inner evolution. So let's stop here. I'm Steven. Dialogue is Experience Lab. Bye bye.